Hi everyone, it's Trishna. So in my last video, which was called something like Shattering the Illusions of Problems or Seeing Problems in a Significantly More Powerful Way, we talked about a few things that actually are going to be a really nice segue into the conversation for this video. So in the last video, we talked about one of the problems that I was experiencing about a few months ago. I was working off of a laptop that I had had for many, many years. It had been falling apart for the past several years, where the brightness setting was really off, and so the brightness would always be at full level and just like burning my eyes out. My keys were popping off. The battery, like my laptop would only function if it was plugged in, or I'd have to buy another external battery, and how all of these events eventually culminated into this moment where I was doing a live video and my live videos no longer worked. The audio was completely garbled and I was filming the same video over and over and over, hoping that if I changed one setting, everything would go back to working again and I could resume with my life as it was. And nothing worked, and basically I was forced to make a change and get a brand new laptop. Here it is, because that's what I really, really needed. And so that was kind of a story of how life is not about stagnation. It's not about staying in the same spot. It's not about finding this one perfect computer that I'm going to stay with for the rest of my life and I will never need another one. Life is all about growth and all about moving forward. We also talked in that last video about working with spirits, like people who have passed on or maybe animals who have passed on. And one thing about ghosts is there's always been this mentality, or there has been a mentality for a long time, where whenever we think of a ghost, we feel like they are trapped. We feel bad for them, or we may feel scared for them, but sometimes we feel bad for them. We feel like, oh no, they're stuck here, they're trapped. They can't move on, they can't go somewhere better, and they can't really fit into the world here because they're no longer in a physical form, and we often feel for them. And that's because we had this idea, this understanding that stagnation isn't the way to go. Being in a place where you can't move forwards and you can't really move backwards, that is stagnation. That is the existence of a ghost. And we automatically have this understanding that that's not really the way things are supposed to work, that something needs to be done there. A change needs to happen to help release that ghost to wherever they are supposed to go next. So we have these understandings already built within us, already kind of deep within us, that the universe is all about moving forward. And in the last video, we talked about that. We talked about how the universe is all about change, it's all about forward movement. And whenever we see a problem in our lives, it's important that we just notice that it's about change. And if we work with that change and move forward with that change, we're actually moving in alignment with the universal forces as well. And that's just going to bring us blessings and actually make our paths smoother, even though it doesn't really look like that at the moment. So essentially what this video is about is this understanding that everything is in motion, even when we don't think it's in motion. If we think about a tree stands still and yet it's always growing. It's always building new branches. It changes with the seasons. It has leaves and then the leaves drop or the leaves change colors and then it continues in that cycle. It's always growing. It's always moving. Maybe not spatially, but it is still moving in time, moving in its own way, in its own pace. If we think about a building, that's this physical structure, but so much change is happening in a building as well. People are going in and out of the building. Energy is shifting within the building depending on who's there and the time and all that. There may be some issues with the foundation over time, and that's starting to break down. And so that's a change right there that creates structural changes as well. So that's movement. Then we do renovations. Again, that's change and movement to the building. And then if we look even deeper, we look at the physical structure itself of a building. We may think that it's stable, that nothing is moving. But again, like we talked about in 2 videos ago, there is this illusion of the physical reality where we look at something like a candle and we think, not the flame, but like the wax or something like that. And we look at it and we think, or let's say like this glass, and we think, oh, that's a solid object, that there's nothing really beyond that. But in reality, it's made up of all these molecules and all these atoms and all these electrons. And we think that it's still, but it's vibrating constantly. The molecules and the atoms and the energy within the physical object is constantly vibrating. And even in our bodies, we're always vibrating all the time. And so what looks like it is stagnant is actually always in motion, one way or another. And so I guess the question here for this video is how might you be how might you be being stagnant? Is there maybe a stagnant area in your life right now that you need to be addressing at this point in time so that you can go with the flow of the universe, so that you can bring on the change that allows you to bring in the blessings? So maybe you are being stagnant in your thoughts. Maybe you are thinking the same thought patterns over and over and over, and they're not serving you anymore. And it's time for you to shift your thought patterns. That will be a change. That will be you moving forward into a new thought pattern that serves you better. And then eventually you move on to a new thought pattern that serves you better. Maybe you are being stagnant in terms of your action. Maybe you aren't doing enough. Maybe you are caught up in your mind and you're not doing enough action. Or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe you're doing too much or doing too much action. You're giving too much. You're not getting anything in return. And so you're getting stuck in this action loop. And maybe that needs to change. Maybe you are bringing certain things into your life that represent stagnation. Maybe you keep changing jobs and you keep meeting the exact same people, just different faces, different names, but still the exact same people, the exact same scenarios. So you're kind of caught in some kind of loop. So what changes need to be made there? How can you get out of that kind of stagnation? And I feel like let's talk about the physical body. Maybe, maybe you're not moving enough in your body. Maybe you need to go out and exercise more. Or maybe your digestion is a little stopped up and you need to change your diet. So what kinds of changes do you need to make? How can you move with the flow of the universe that really embraces change and embraces progress and embraces growth? What are some areas within your life that you can kind of look at growth and kind of proceed from there? So that's what I will leave you with. If you would like to share, please share maybe what you're working on or what kind of stagnation you're dealing with in the comments below. Or, just share how this video resonated for you. For me, I had to work on getting this new laptop, and probably the next little project for me is getting a new phone. It's about time for one of those as well. So, yeah, just do some reflecting and see like what areas do you need to move forward in and how can you grow. And if this video was interesting to you, then I have a link in the description box of this YouTube video. This is on YouTube or in the Facebook box for those of you who are watching this live or on replay. And you can join my Facebook group if you're interested. So come join us if this was really powerful and helpful for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.